Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Chinenye Moye and the sign language interpreter is Precious Ozemena. We're glad to have you join us. First, let's bring you the headlines. Ghana's John Mahama sworn in amidst cheers by Ghanaians following his presidential comeback. United States and Japan reiterated their commitments to further strengthen the relationship that exists between them. And death toll continued to rise from a devastating earthquake in China's remote Tibet region, just as Indian search teams work to reach several coal miners trapped underground. John Dramani Mahama has been inaugurated as the new president of Ghana in a historic transition. President Mahama takes over from Nana Akufo-Addo. He handed over to 8 years ago. State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab reports.
Here is the return of John Dramani Mahama. The president back for his second spell in the office he left 8 years ago after a single term.
So help me God.
Apparently returning with more experience, Mahama is now hoping to reset the Black Star Nation. Acknowledging the current dynamic realities of the world, the Ghanaian president emphasized the importance of international cooperation and the support of his citizens in his quest to achieving the new Ghana they desire. President Mahama says his new administration is setting out with focus on 4 critical areas of economic restoration, improvement of the investment environment, governance and constitution reforms, as well as accountability and fight against corruption.
Together, as we look to the horizon, we reaffirm our dedication to breaking the glass ceiling that has long hindered reaching their full potential. Governance that reflects all segments of our population, strengthens our democracy, and enriches our conversation. We stand committed to enacting policies that empower women and ensure that the door of opportunity is open wide for our youth and our women, regardless of their background.
President Bola Tinubu was there to celebrate the growth of democracy in Africa. And the ECOWAS chairman wants African leaders to strive and cooperate better to lead the majority of Africans out of poverty.
With laser focus, we can tackle our people's most pressing problem of poverty, youth unemployment, instability, insurgency, and many other problems hampering our desired progress.
For all the leaders present, it's welcome back to John Dramani Mahama.
What I foresee is that the relationship between the two countries will be further deepened, even under the past leader, Akufo-Addo. This was the case. I can see us breaking new grounds under Mahama, I said, because there's also a personal relationship involved. So many problems will be solved with this kind of personal relationship.
Now the Ghanaians are celebrating the return of John Dramani Mahama and significantly 32 years of democracy, hoping for a greater fortune for the country and its people. From Accra, Musbau Danwahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Ghana is in high spirits after witnessing a peaceful transition of power from Nana Akufo-Addo to John Mahama, harboring hopes for better days ahead. This transition also marks a milestone in the country's democratic journey as it has welcomed its first female vice president. Musa Baba Aliyu tells us more.
The ceremony held in Accra, Ghana was colorful and unique, with millions of people witnessing the transfer of power from Nana Akufo-Addo to the newly inaugurated president, John Mahama.
John Dramani Mahama,
having been elected
to
the high office of President of the Republic of Ghana.
John Mahama was declared the winner of the December 7, 2024 election, defeating the then ruling party. His return to power for a second term also marked the emergence of the country's first female vice president, Professor Jen Nana Apoko.
That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
We need to be fair, we need to be balanced, we need to put the interests of the nation first. And I believe that once we do that, and then we will advise. Of course, our duty is to counsel. It is not everything we can say in public.
This is a new era. We are going to reset Ghana. And I can tell you that after today's inauguration, the modus operandi of various workers in this country will change. And I can tell you that President Mahama is going to appoint the right people into key places that will help reset the country.
Things are bad, but we have absolute confidence in His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman to take the fortunes of this country. So we are confident that it shall end in peace and Ghana will go back to its glory days and we can again be referred to as a black star of Africa.
Other leaders who attended the ceremony included former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan and former South African President Jacob Zuma. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
With Ghana heralding a new dawn in her political history, it is equally to take a look at this historic moment and the lessons to be learned, as well as its implication for democracy in Ghana and the continent generally. Joining us via Zoom from the United Kingdom to speak to this is Paul Ejime, an international media and communication specialist, to shed some light on the implications for Ghana's democracy. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Paul Ejime.
Good evening, viewers.
So Ghana has a new president, even though not a first-timer. What's your assessment of Ghana's democracy?
Well, for those who think that democracy is taking
Yes, I can hear you, Ghana.
I think this is good news for Ghana and then for the region.
Go ahead.
2 member countries, 4 are under dictators, military dictators. But with what is happening in Ghana, very not peaceful. Transfer. This is the 4th one that is happening since 1992. I was there as an observer, and everything went almost largely. And you notice President Mahama, the second time is coming. You notice that he was able to in very his political opponent, Vice President the early concession, because that was part of the issues that one of the things that so Ghana is showing an example. You notice also that one of the 3 ECOWAS member states, the leader, rapprochement. There could be some ways of bringing these those who want to run away from ECOWAS, maybe bringing them back. So there is hope. He says there is hope in the horizon for not just Ghana, but ECOWAS and then the region.
Okay. With the way the former vice president, who was Mahama's opponent, considered defeat, what does that indicate, sir?
Yeah, it shows Ghana's maturity in democratic governance. Because democracy, like we say, is not an event. It is a process. And then you need to grow it. It is a culture, not a one day thing. Ghana has now shown after 9 elections since 1992, and then transferring power, moving from one party to the other for the fourth or third time. They are showing, and then this is not the first time that an opponent will be calling up his political rival to concede. Our own region, they are growing. What will now be is to consolidate, to make sure that these democratic principles are consolidated in the region, instead of some people now going for military rule. Military coup or military rule is not the option. And I hope Captain Traore of his colleagues who are bearing arms, that that is not the way to go. They have But of all the government systems that have been tried, it is the one that is preferred because it gives you this type of opportunity to change leaders when they do not deliver. The election on the 7th of December was, Akufo-Addo, who was thoroughly defeated and giving Mahama overwhelming victory that he had.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ejime, for sharing your thoughts with us. We sincerely apologize for the audio challenges we had. The United States says its ties with Japan are stronger than they have ever been before, and that the two countries are committed to continuing cooperation for many years to come. Uche Ugochukwu reports that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said this during his meeting with Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba on his visit to Tokyo.
Blinken's visit comes days after U.S. President Joe Biden blocked Nippon Steel's takeover of U.S. Steel. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, however, insisted that ties with Japan were stronger than ever.
You look at what we've done together on strengthening our security partnership relationship, modernizing our command and control, working together on defense co-production so that we can strengthen our defense industrial base and have an even stronger deterrent.
Business groups say the decision could have a chilling effect on Japan's standing as the biggest foreign investor in the United States, just as Washington seeks closer ties with Tokyo to counter China. The top U.S. diplomat noted that he also came to Japan on his first trip in 2021.
We're living at a time where there's a greater premium than ever before in like-minded countries finding ways to work together, to coordinate, to cooperate, to communicate. Japan, the United States are leading the way, and I have great confidence that will continue for many, many years to come.
Blinken also cited the strength of economic ties, but made no direct mention of Biden's decision to block Nippon Steel's $14.9 billion takeover of long-struggling U.S. Steel, which in response, the two companies filed a lawsuit against what they described as the Biden administration's illegal interference in the transaction. Meanwhile, Japan's Prime Minister had urged Washington to dispel concerns that a decision by Joe Biden to block Nippon Steel's takeover of U.S. Steel could impact future investments. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break here. We'll have more reports when we return. Do stay. Many thanks for staying on. International flights resume at Damascus Airport for the first time after the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. on December 18th. The first flight since Islamist-led rebels ousted Assad on December 8th took off from Damascus airport to Aleppo in the country's north, Syria. Syria had said the country's main airport in Damascus would resume international flights following last month's ousting of President Bashar al-Assad. International aid planes and foreign diplomatic delegations were the first to resume landing in Syria. Qatar Airways also resumed flights to the Syrian capital after nearly 13 years, starting with 3 weekly flights from Tuesday. Death toll continues to rise from a devastating earthquake in China's remote Tibet region, just as Indian search teams work to reach several coal miners trapped underground after water flooded the shaft a day earlier. Uche Ugochukwu has details.
At least 126 people have died and many are feared trapped after a strong earthquake that struck the autonomous Tibet region in China. The U.S. Geological Survey said it was 7.1 magnitude. According to China's Ministry of Emergency Management, about 1,500 fire and rescue workers have been deployed, but the area is remote and conditions difficult. The China Earthquake Network Center said the average altitude in the area near the epicenter is about 413,800 feet. Tremors were also felt in Nepal's capital, Kathmandu, as well as Bhutan and northern India. Similarly, Indian search teams, including military divers, Tuesday worked to reach several coal miners trapped underground after water flooded the shafts a day earlier. Rescue officials said are reported to be trapped in the mine, with a rescue report saying 3 bodies had been spotted. Locals said at least 27 workers had entered the mine on Monday morning in India's northeastern states of Assam, with many managing to escape as gushing waters swamped the pit workings. State Government Minister Kashuk Rai said more than 100 rescuers, including soldiers, were working to reach the trapped men. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has reiterated its resolve to optimize resources, strengthen its fleet, and uphold national security through operational excellence. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, affirmed this at the 431 Engineering Group, Kaduna. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports that a 20-year grounded aircraft was reactivated by the Nigerian Air Force engineers.
It's begun with a presidential directive, a call to action for ministries, departments and agencies to transfer their grounded assets to the Nigerian Air Force for possible reactivation. The project was given the green light in June 2024, and what followed was a feat of engineering brilliance. This was a testament to the NAV's growing technical expertise and resolve to achieve self-reliance in aviation maintenance. What had once seemed like an insurmountable challenge was now a reality. When the aircraft's engines roared to life for the first time in years, the hangar was filled with a sense of triumph. It was not just the sound of an engine starting, it was the sound of a new chapter in the Nigerian Air Force history. The successful reactivation of the NAF 039 after 23 years of dormancy was a monumental achievement, as it wasn't merely about restoring a piece of machinery, but about the culmination of years of progress, reflecting a new era for Nigeria's Air Force. Hassan Abubakar, the Chief of the Air Staff, was quick to recognize the significance of the accomplishment, saying the successful reactivation of NAV 039 is not just an operational gain, but a statement of the Nigerian Air Force capabilities and commitment to self-reliance. As NAV 039 took to the skies once again, it wasn't just the aircraft that had been rejuvenated. It was a national asset, a beacon of self-reliance and innovation, soaring towards a future of operational excellence and national security. The NAV's journey had only just begun. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Working towards improving air transportation and provision of infrastructure services towards achieving the Aviation Master Plan is the key priority of the sector in 2025 and beyond. The newly appointed Permanent Secretary, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana, hinted this as he assumes his new assignment of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Abuja. Aliyu Kabir reports.
Since the beginning of President Tinubu-led administration in 2023, the Nigeria's aviation sector has witnessed significant transformation driven by the government's effort to position the industry as a hub on the African continent and globally. The ministry, through its agencies, have been working round the clock to strengthen safety and security measures, with a focus on maintaining international standards in terms of infrastructure development and operations in line with the renewed Hope agenda. It is in line to this, the new appointed permanent secretary to the ministry, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana, is committed to as he assumes his new assignment, especially having experience in security, administration, and health.
I'm going to work with all of you, and there is no doubt I also have my reservations about the way our airports are in the country. I hope that we'll all work together to improve them. Count on me in this regard.
In his valedictory message, the former permanent secretary, Dr. Emmanuel Maribole, has expressed confidence in the new permanent secretary, calling on him to carry all stakeholders along towards achieving National Aviation Master Plan. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says the country is strengthening national vigilance amid rising global concerns over human metapneumovirus, HMPV, meeting preparedness measures, as well as response capacity to tackle the virus should it emerge. A statement signed by the NCDC Director General, Dr. Jide Idris, states that a dynamic risk assessment conducted for human metapneumovirus in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and partners classifies the risk of HMPV for Nigeria as moderate, with reports indicating a surge in HMPV cases in countries like China. The NCDC clarifies that the World Health Organization has not declared HMPV a public health emergency of international concerns, asking Nigerians to rely on verified information from credible sources like the NCDC and the WHO. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has sealed off a Chinese supermarket in Wuse 2, Abuja, for selling expired products and products labeled in Chinese language without the English translation of it, as enshrined in NAFDAC's regulations. The supermarket is owned and managed by the Chinese nationals who claim they are undergoing NAFDAC processes of getting NAFDAC license and also translating the labeling instructions into English. According to NAFDAC's regulations, the leader of the enforcement team, Shaba Mohammed, said the agency got credible information about the violation of our regulations by the supermarket and immediately swung into action. We carried our due diligence to ascertain the claim, he said. He said the agency will continue with the investigation to unravel how those products got into the country in a commercial quantity with the outright violation of the labeling practice without being intercepted at the point of entry. The investigation will be extended to the warehouse where their goods are being kept, as 90% of the items found in their shelves are labeled in Chinese language. The action is to stop them from selling those items to the public in order to guarantee public safety. 6 billion naira is to be shared among the 13 local government areas in Nasarawa State as federal government agricultural support program to boost fruit production in rural communities. Governor Abdullahi Sule says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the release of funds to encourage local government councils to go into agricultural activities in the upcoming farming season. Aliyu Tijani reports.
Each of the 13 local government areas will receive 460 million naira farm inputs and seedlings to complement the program. Part of the to enable local government go into mechanized farming, thereby engaging unemployed youths in the production cycle and reduce restiveness as well as ensure food security. The state government is also supporting the federal government initiative with the recent distribution of tractors to local government areas.
I'm pleading with you This agriculture, we are being expected as a state, to lead the way. And I think the only way we can lead the way is if you also embrace aspect of agriculture.
In 2024, Nasarawa state government, as part of her agricultural drive, venture into rice farming with a bumper harvest at the end of the year. And presently, planting for dry season farming is in progress in the state. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Let's now take a look at Wednesday's weather prospect in Nigeria and other cities of the world. And that's the news on NTA International. We thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Chinenye Mwe.